But let's move into the final topic, and we'll begin to talk about some massive changes that could be hitting the NBA, mainly because of Adam Silver's driving agenda that he wants to be more like the European Soccer League. So let's talk about this. It's something that could be absolutely, changing just history of NBA, because the NBA could just be totally different. We could see a shortening of schedules. We could see a changing of champions as well, the way that's figured out. But or we could see new champions added, I guess. We'll talk about it in this whole thing. But if you want to read the full story, go to ESPN.com. Woj and Zach Lowe wrote this up today. The NBA is engaged in serious discussions with the NBA Basketball Players Association and broadcast partners on sweeping, dramatic changes to the league calendar that would include a reseeding of the 4 conference finalists, a 30-team in-season tournament, and postseason play-in, league sources told ESPN. These scenarios would come with the shortening of the regular season to a minimum of 78 games. Discussions are progressing with hopes of bringing a vote to the April meeting of the league's Board of Governors that would introduce some, if not all, of these proposals into the NBA's 75th anniversary season in 2021-2022, league sources says. The NBA still has work to do coordinating with the constituents on the myriad implications involving the proposed changes. We will get into the changes like reseeding the tournament and everything else in a little bit, but first initial thoughts when I say all of that, what do you think?
Yes, the season needs to be shorter. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah.
Is that enough, though, 78 games?
No, it feels like nothing. Like,
Okay.
3 games,
going.
boo-hoo. Keep going down.
I think the season at 60 games, somewhere just around
We'd see Kawhi every game.
60 games would be pretty great. I get the history of the game, whatever. We're not as big of historians as baseball. I feel like baseball's legend and lore and everything. Like trying to change a 162 game season is impossible, even though it's such a fucking waste of time.
60 games would also kill load management.
I mean, you could space out the whole point is to space out games so players feel like they have enough time for their bodies to recover in between games, and I think that would achieve that. I think 78 is like we're just floating on a number and let's see.
That seems to be but that seems to be the biggest thing that you guys are capturing onto, not the in-season tournament, not the reseeding.
That stuff I figured we'll get into. My number one is the.
Okay,
let's hit something we all agree on.
Let me
Do you agree? Short season better?
A shorter season's better, but 78 isn't enough. But here's the reason why it's 78, and let's get into that part then. In the proposals that include the adoption of in-season tournaments and postseason play-in, the traditional regular season schedule would be reduced from 82, with most teams scheduled to play 78 or 79 games. There's a small possibility of a team playing a maximum of 83 games based on possible tournament and play-in scenarios, league sources said. For the in-season tournament, the NBA is focused on 30-team participation that begins with the divisional group stage of scheduled regular season games. So the short, I want to clarify that. The regular season would be shortened to then add in the tournament play and the play-in stuff.
An extra game potentially for one team
or
two
teams.
Yeah,
so the schedule actually wouldn't be shortened. So it would be shortened the regular season as we know it, but then the addition of the tournament and stuff then would change things. So hearing that, then does that? Can we get off? Do you think that's the biggest change? Then is the regular season?
It's not the biggest change. If you're going to make a change, I feel like the one I've been always, because the best season that I remember watching in basketball in my recent history was the lockout season. It was an amazing season. You start on Christmas Day. I feel like that could almost be how the NBA should do it. Is we're going to start with a bang on Christmas, because you think about it. By that time, the NFL season has already progressed. You don't have to deal with the baseball playoffs that kind of overlap with the beginning of the season right now. College football is pretty much dead in December. We're just waiting for that the 3 playoff games in January between the New Year's Eve day and the playoff games to start with a bang on Christmas, play the season out like you did in the lockout.
You need more spacing. You can't start it on Christmas. The whole point of the shortened season is to space out the game. Yeah. And with that shortened season, we did all love it, but it was still, you had back-to-backs. You had, the 4 games in 5 nights or 4 games in 6 nights, bullshit. So I think that...
Then why not have it go further than June?
Here, let's get into this part because this is the actual tournament, and they hit all this part, Woj and Lodo.
Nice.
For the in-season tournament, the NBA is focused on 30-team participation that begins with a divisional group stage of scheduled regular season games. Those pre-knockout round games would be a part of the regular season schedule. 6 division winners based on home and road records in the group stage, and the 2 teams with the next best records would advance to single elimination knockout round, league sources said. Those teams could potentially compete in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Proposals exist that would compensate players and coaches for advancing and winning the tournament, league sources said. Even with possible passage, the NBA has no illusions that it will get the entire league to make an immediate enthusiastic commitment to the importance of competing for an in-season tournament championship, but it does believe that it would come with time and tradition. The NBA and NBPA are finding common ground on a post-Thanksgiving tournament window that would extend into mid-December, league sources said. Months ago, the NBA proposed a late February-January tournament, Ricky, you were talking about, that would accumulate with a Final Four during All-Star Weekend, sources said, and that idea faded fast. Both the union and team execs expressed concerns over the whole All-Star break. They don't want to, impede on that. Teams were concerned that roster turnover also at early February trade deadline and ensuing buyout waiver window would compromise the integrity of the tournament. So, teams just buying, Carmelo Anthony and then bringing him in, which I don't know would help you win a tournament, but you guys get what the point I'm trying to say. As for timing,
basically.
There was uncertainty about whether holding the tournament in January would risk losing viewership and media attention to the NFL playoffs. Running into March would mean competing with college basketball. The post-Thanksgiving window gives the NBA the chance to compete only with conference bowl champions and less consequential early bowl games like the Popeyes Chicken Bahamas Bowl. Oh, the Bahamas Bowl. The NBA has been reluctant to shoehorn tournament games onto Christmas Day schedule. The league and its network partners, included ESPN and ABC, wants to make sure every Christmas game features elite teams and franchises from the biggest market. So it's pretty ridiculous. There's even more stuff that goes into the actual tournament then. But we can get into the actual tournament part, the way that it's laid out, if you guys want. But that's at least the timing stuff. So they're looking Thanksgiving. I think this is just a mess. Does this matter?
No.
I mean,
what's the grand prize of it all? Do I get a guaranteed?
What does it all mean, Basil?
Do I get a guaranteed top 4 seed in the playoffs or something? I saw that tossed around.
What if you get a guaranteed lottery pick?
Oh, hang on. That's a game changer.
Winner of the tournament gets a guaranteed lottery pick. Or
that feels like an imbalance.
No. Or
out there.
What about this? You don't get a guaranteed lottery pick. You get an odds of, and this could does it combat taking or feed into it? You get a ping pong ball with this probability thrown into the pot. So even if you're a playoff team and win, hey, we got a chance to get a top 4 pick now because we're getting a little bit of a probability. It may be the same as like a 14-15 seed.
Yeah, but I mean, what happens when the Clippers get a fucking lottery pick?
The NBA gives it to them, and then because it's rigged.
Does that seem fair?
Well, it's not fair anyways, Dave. It's rigged.
I mean, it's been rigged in specific years, but I still think that if you have the NBA give. Again, it's like the Warriors are going to be this year. They're going to get a top lottery pick. They're going to come back with two All-Stars at least, maybe 3 if they decide to keep D'Lo. It's just disgusting. So I don't know if I like the lottery pick idea, but I do think there needs to be some incentive. Like a mid-season tournament sounds great and all, but meh, that doesn't. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I think the coordination and the games, all that, might be too much work for not enough payoff. I like the idea of tournaments, though, normally.
Yeah.
But the NBA just
do you think it's just as simple to do what the NHL did when of course, theirs was the actual All-Star game they revamped and did that tournament instead of just having the one All-Star game. Could it be something as easy as, hey, the winning team gets more money?
That's why
people like money, right?
I guess. I think that's just the All-Star game, though. So I don't know if that matters.
No, but this tournament, you could say the winner of the tournament,
broke like NHL
that
players are.
Team gets more money or gets
I don't know. That's
extra check.
Because there's less risk too. If you're not in the NBA, you pretty much just suck, or something tragic happened. That's it. If you're not making the league year in year out, you could be a guy that's on the bench. Jody Meeks is still around. Jesus Christ, you don't have to be a stud to be around. And Jody Meeks would absolutely roast me in a basketball game. I don't want to say that. I don't know. I just find tournaments are interesting, but they're interesting when it actually means you're going to win the championship.
Right.
So I would say shorten the season and then just put all 30 teams in the fucking playoffs. Like, and just have 1 through 30.
But then
why not?
what does the season even mean?
Seeding.
The
whole season's just for seeding.
So just make it. We know that the March Madness playout works. So you can get expansion, which the NBA would fucking love. Put it to 32, right? Would 32 be enough? Yeah. 32 and then 8, and then 4 brackets of 8.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. I already did this. It's 2.
Yeah. So yeah, you expand it to 2. You get Seattle in. You get another team,
Las
and then
Vegas.
just go 1. Las Vegas, whoever you want to do.
Shift teams over. Right?
And then boom, there you go. You get a March Madness style tournament that end the season, and that would then eclipse. Because there's nothing in June that's going to take you out and beat you, or you can go all the way. You could go like right after the actual national championship game.
I don't know. June baseball, man, pretty exciting.
My problem with that is at what point do you do series? Because you in basketball the one thing
series would happen. I would probably say once you get down to 8 teams. So the Elite 8 becomes series because that would be
Because I hate and love the fact that basketball you actually usually have the best team win because you have a full series. If you can't win a best of series, you're not the better team. In college basketball, you have those moments. And they may not be the best team, but they had the string of moments that took them there.
Well, I mean, you could. I don't know how. Then I'm figuring out length, but maybe you just do best of 5 then. Could you do best of 5?
What if we go back
to
best of 3, best of 5, best of 7?
7, right? Because how many series would there actually be then? Because it'd be
Round
1 versus 8, 5 versus 4, 1 versus 2. If just all. I'm just doing the math of best seeds advancing, and then be five series, right?
Round 1 is 1 versus 30, right?
Yeah, 1 versus 32.
Yeah, 32. I'm sorry.
But it'd be 1 versus 8 in the actual bracket.
Oh, okay.
Or unless you want to do 1 through 32.
Just solid 2 sides.
Yeah. So, but then that'd be 1/16.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, I think you could do best of 5, 7, 7, 7.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I'd want to keep a
3,
series
5, 7.
in there at least because I hate the fluky 1-game shit.
Here's the play-in proposal too. This is for the actual playoffs because we're kind of iffy on the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
Does it intrigue
I'm
you
not
at all?
sold on it. I think there's without a value attached to it, doesn't do anything for me.
Ricky, sold on it? Would you watch it?
The play into the playoffs?
No, the tournament.
No,
I haven't
the
even
tournament.
explained
No.
the play-in yet.
The tournament, I think, is just and here's the other thing we haven't brought up is if you do have the tournament, it's not going to be what you expect it in your head. Kawhi's not playing. Paul George ain't playing. Like, all these players will be like,
the regular season.
Like, fuck it. Like, why should I play? Like,
no, aren't these regular season games to play into the tournament? Wasn't it regular season games to play into the tournament?
But I'm talking about, like, not the divisional round. I'm talking about when they get to the semifinal and final one that they want to put over Thanksgiving weekend. They're still, like, you're still going to combat that if it's a tournament of, like, your star players may not be playing in that game because they're like, you know what? I don't want to play 83 games. I'm going to take this one off.
Well, no. So the in-season tournament that they would count towards a regular season game. So like the in-season tournament includes regular season games.
Yes, but the player like Kawhi Leonard is not going to go, man, I really got to play this game. It's a tournament game.
Oh no,
that's
I don't
what I'm saying. Like we're expecting it to be like, man, we're gonna get the best matchups. It's like no, like it doesn't guarantee that the players are gonna play.
Like we said, it's a 3-game shortening of the season, so that's not enough for Kawhi Leonard or someone that is trying to look like that. That's not enough. So you're absolutely right on that. They might be like, all right, you can't like they might do the thing where it's a primetime game, so you can't like set out like the quarterfinals, semifinals, or final games of a tournament. They might do that, and then you get fined. But the first couple rounds he might not play. But even then, like I guess then you would have to then just go to. I don't know how it would work because then like you'd have to tournament, but then our team's also playing just regular season games during this.
So from what it sounds like to me is that the divisional stuff would be just your regular season games versus the division, and then based off of that record, they would decide who would be the quarterfinal teams to be in the single season elimination game and they would and that's the thing, what they're going to play those first games early in the year and then, all right, these games get scheduled over Thanksgiving It's like, so we're not going to know the exact schedule for this? Mm-hmm. Like, is this going to be a flex thing where things move? Because you can't pre-predict who's going to play each other in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals.
Yeah.
It's the point of a tournament.
Yep.
I don't know. But here's the play-in proposal, because the in-season thing just seems stupid to me.
Yeah.
Just absolutely stupid. Play-in proposal is 2 4-team tournaments featuring the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds in each conference. The 7th seed would host the 8th seed, with the winner of that single game earning the 7th spot, league sources say. The 9th seed would host the 10th seed, with the winner of that facing the loser of the 7-8 matchup for the final playoff spot. So...
Dumb.
So if I'm the 8th seed and I lose, I'm out of the playoffs,
If you
and I have
lose
a better
twice,
You have to lose
record
2
than-
games
you
in
have
a
to lose
row.
twice.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, listen to this again.
Yeah,
the
it's
7th
stupid.
seed would host the 8th seed,
Yes.
which makes sense in my mind.
Yes.
And the winner of that would get the 7th spot.
It's still
the
stupid.
9th seed would host the 10th seed, and the winner of that game would then face the loser of the 7-8. So the 8th spot could lose their spot if they have to lose 2 games.
They're trying to cash in on the baseball tiebreaker shit at the end of the year.
The wild card game,
Yeah,
which is
that's
amazing.
That's the problem. They want to
Yeah.
do that, but in basketball, I feel like there's just usually a level of difference between the quality of the 8th seed and the 9th seed or the 10th seed.
And you want to know the reason they want to do this? The West.
Yeah.
The West right now. You know what you do then? You make the 9th seed and the 8th seed play each other.
But the problem is
winner
these wouldn't even happen like right away, right? It would be
2021. So
2022.
after next season.
yeah. So you
they'd
got
be implemented.
next season, then the following season.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit down the road.
Here's what
West would
the
be a completely
matchups.
different
Here's what
place.
the matchups would be. Would you
Probably
even
like
be
39.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in these matchups? Brooklyn versus Orlando decide who the 7th seed is
So Brooklyn wins.
versus you don't know that. Versus
Are we talking right now?
yeah, right
standings?
now.
Okay.
This is the right now standings.
Yeah.
Brooklyn versus Orlando to decide who the 7th seed would be,
And then Washington.
Charlotte versus Washington, and then loser of that would winner of that would face Brooklyn or Orlando, depending who. I don't care about those games.
No, I don't either.
Why does that matter?
And
I
what
don't,
would the
I don't
West-
want to see the
but what would the
Magic
West
who
be, though?
can't score, and then the garbage Wizards who can't defend.
What would the West be though? And that I think the
Minnesota
West is,
versus Phoenix,
Yeah.
and the Kings versus the Pelicans, and then you'd have Minnesota versus Suns for the 7th seed, and then the Suns of the T-Wolves versus the winner of the Kings versus the Pelicans.
more enticing than the East. I think
Is it?
this one is to me
like,
when
I like
first
watching the
saw
Suns play, but like, do I really want to see the Pelicans, who have been so bad throughout this entire season, get a shot in the playoffs?
and that's the part they're
like
the
the
only
Suns,
ones.
the Suns and T-Wolves are deserving. The Kings and Pelicans, we've talked about being disappointments already this year.
And I mean, I think it's just when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's the league trying to combat that. There may be a team like the Kings last year where it was like, oh, they were so close, and how stacked the West is. That's why they're going to do this. I think that the change that the league needs to make is super easy, barely an inconvenience, and it doesn't involve a single tournament. This is what I would do. I'm going to lay it out for you guys.
We have
First
the
off,
same idea. I already know it, and you haven't
Oh,
even start talking.
Before
What?
you do that, then, can I
Go
quick
ahead.
drop in
Go ahead.
a point
Go
of
ahead.
reference?
Go ahead.
Last year, had this been in place, the Clippers were a 48-34 team at the 8th seed.
Mm-hmm.
The 9th seed was the Kings at 39-43. Can you imagine that? Like,
And what if one of those teams, like, what
and
if
the Lakers
Clippers,
were 37-45 at the 10.
and
So
what if the Clippers get injured? Like, what if the Clippers have an injury?
that's what I'm saying. Like, no, that drop off is massive.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're playing a pointless game that they deserve a playoff spot, and then what if, like, Lou Williams gets injured in that
Exactly.
game, and then they don't have him for the playoffs?
it's that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Is they've earned their right to be in the playoffs because of the entire season. If there's that much of a gap between them, God no. 39 to 48. Huge jump.
And
Sorry.
I've done this with you guys. I
Yeah.
almost knocked my water over again.
bad.
Talking with my hands too much. But I've mapped this out. We did it after we did the relocation thing with Sam.
Yep.
And I thought about it even more. I think what the NBA could do that could work for them is kind of what hockey's doing. And in order to do that, first they need to add 2 teams. Seattle and Las Vegas make the most sense to me based off of just how I had the divisions. I'm not going to go through all the divisions. Just know that there's 4 of them. 2 in the West, 2 in the East. Then how you do the playoffs is the top 3 teams from each division get in. And then there's 2 wildcard teams. So 2 teams from the West, 2 from the East. Doesn't matter what division you're in. And you just seed them accordingly 1 through 8. The other thing I would love to see in the playoffs, if you're going to make a change, is reseeding teams. But in the NBA, I think about, do you necessarily have to do that? Because most of the time it's 1 through 4. Like, how many times have we had it where...
Yeah, reseeding doesn't matter. The thing that, to me, I would like to see is the best 16 NBA teams make it instead of the best 8 from a conference and the best 8 from the East and West. That was something that I would care more about.
So if they do that and then they do this play-in at the end, I think then I might be interested.
Yeah, so then let's just go to last year for that.
Yeah.
If they took the top 16 teams, and let's say, will we do, so that would be the 2019, no, it'd be the 17 and 18 teams. So it would be the Clippers and Magic. No, here we go. All right. So it'd be the Nets and the Pistons taking on each other versus the Hornets and the Kings. And the winner of that faces... Yeah, it really doesn't entice me anymore.
Well, and...
I just think it allows for a better variance.
No,
like,
I got you. But those, at least record-wise, those would be the bottom teams. Those would be the 15, 16 versus the 17 and 18.
Yep.
The last thing, though, I was going to say, though, and this goes into what Dave was saying earlier, with the 32 teams, you could then do it where everyone would play 4 games against their division. That's a total of 28 games. They would play 2 games against the other division of their conference, 16 games, and then 1 game against the entire, like the East would play 1 game against every other team in the West. The math comes out to 60.
Can I put this out there?
Yeah.
It seems like they want to make divisions matter, right?
Yes, because they used to matter and then they got rid of them.
It feels like that. Well, I don't care about divisions. I don't think it matters, but it feels like they want divisions to matter.
Yes.
So why don't you do this? Your idea, kind of. 2 teams from each division make it, and then the 2 teams with the best record that didn't make it get in, right? So this is what it would look like
So that would
for last year.
mean you're 6 teams in each conference then? Because I only have 2 divisions.
Oh, I have 3.
Okay.
So if taking the divisions as of right now.
You're still having 8.
Yeah, so it'd be 2 from each division.
Yeah.
So that gives you
2,
6,
2.
and then two wild cards, which are the best teams.
Yep.
So it would be coming out of the Atlantic. It would be you have to win. It comes down to division games.
Yeah.
So the teams with the best division records get the 2 spots. So Toronto.
So the division standings are based off of the division record.
Yeah. So
not
if the 2
overall.
best teams with the best division rankings records get in. So it'd be in the Atlantic, the Raptors and Celtics would get automatic ins because they were Raptors went 12-4 and Celtics went 10-6. Then the Bucks went 14-2 and the Pacers went 11-5. They get in. And then it was the Magic and Hornets get in. They get in because they're 10-6. And then you would have, outside of that, Philly get in. And then I think it would be the Pistons. So the Pistons would get in. So your playoffs would look like Toronto, Philly, Boston, Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit, and then Orlando. And then the Nets would be kicked out because they get screwed. Charlotte. That's right, Charlotte. So the Nets would lose because they didn't have a good enough division or record. Because the Pistons... Oh, no, actually, the Pistons wouldn't get in because the Nets had a better record. So it would be Brooklyn, Boston, Philly, Toronto, Milwaukee, Indiana, and then Orlando, Charlotte. Pistons get knocked out because of the
Charlotte
division.
comes in.
Yeah, and Charlotte comes in. And then for the Western side...
So it changes 1 team.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then for the Western side, in the Northwest, Nuggets and Oklahoma City get in automatically because Nuggets were 12-4 in the division. OKC was 9-7 in the division. Then Golden State gets in, and the Clippers get in 13-3 and 11-5. And then Houston gets in, and San Antonio gets in. So then it looks like the
both Northwest.
Yeah, Blazers and Jazz get in, and that means nobody
misses.
Kicked out.
Same exact.
All right, but yeah, that would be the proposal. I don't know if it makes sense. You guys might think
It
it's
adds
stupid.
value to
Makes sense.
divisions, which I think,
I don't know.
like you said,
I don't know.
I never
imbalanced.
understood why we win divisions.
but you
to me-
reseed then based because of the division. So it's like whoever, like if you're one seed in your division, you're
like
one
the
seed and the
Hornets
best
would be the
individual.
6th seed.
Yeah. Okay. So that would actually change a lot then if you do continue to add on top of that. And I think that could be some direction they go because that way
it'd be
the 3
tough
division
to-
winners are 1, 2, 3 based on their own
And then you use the overall.
1 through 6 would be 1 through 6 would be all of our division winners by regular season records.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, 1 through 3 should be division winners. Oh,
1 through 6.
Are you doing?
Because
of the 2 teams in each division. So Milwaukee would still be the 1 seed, Toronto would still be the 2 seed, Boston would still be the Boston would become a 3 seed because Philly is a wild card in this situation.
See what?
So Boston would be a 3 seed. 4 would be the Pacers. 5 would be the Magic. 6 would be the Hornets. 7 would be the Sixers. 8 would be the Nets.
See, what I'm saying is like if you're then a 1 seed in your division, then you're going to be 1, 2, or 3. It's based on your overall record. And then if you're a 2 seed in your division, you're 4, 5, 6 based on record, and then 7, 8 is just record alone.
So then you would have the Celtics be the 4 seed,
and the Magic would get
the 3 seed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that adds the credence to your division play matters so much more because if you win your division, you get that 1 through 3, and that guess what? You take home.
But the fun thing too is like, let's say the Magic go. Would it then be by division record or regular season?
I was
record?
going overall record for the tiebreakers.
Because imagine if Orlando goes undefeated in the division, but they still are 42 and 40, and then they have to go up against like the fucking Sixers.
Yeah, no, that's why it's great. Like you take your division record to win your division, and you take the overall record to win
to be seeded.
to do the seeding in your bracket chunk, in your 1 through 3, your 4 through 6, or your 7, 8.
Yeah, I don't know.
That adds value to the division. I think that's, and like you said, if that's their goal, maybe that's something they can lean heavily into.
The other thing, and this is totally a joke when I say it, but like when you said, "Oh well, these proposals are being thrown out there because Adam Silver wants to be more like," did you say the European soccer leagues?
Yeah.
That's what the other thing. Says. The other change then we need to make is. Worst team in the NBA gets relegated to the G League, and the G League winner gets in the NBA. No, that's what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Final one that we didn't touch on.
The Warriors get regulated to the G League this year. Relegated.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Regulated.
Final thing that they brought in is the reseeding of teams in the semifinal round based on regular season record could give the NBA championship series that includes its best 2 teams. Totally. The WNBA has seedings in the playoffs without regarding to conference for several seasons. So what do you think about that one?
Yeah, 100%. And we've been talking about the hockey has the right answer for this.
But
I'm going all in.
Yeah, no. The thing I hate about this is that, so based off last year, and this is me understanding it right, it'd basically be Milwaukee, Toronto, Golden State, and Portland all thrown in the pool. And then we could have a chance of having Milwaukee versus Golden State and Toronto versus Portland. It's not just like the reseeding of the 2, obviously, because there's 2. I say...
Oh, you're getting rid of...
Because it's the conference finals.
Conferences.
Like, it's the final 4 teams.
It's getting rid of conferences for when it comes down to the final 4 teams.
And that to me is stupid. Just then reseed the entire bracket and split them into 2 sides. Have like the top 2, team in A, team in B, to just go right down and do it that way. Don't do it just for the final 4.
If you want the best 2 teams to make it, then just get rid of conferences altogether. I absolutely agree. Yeah. Because that way,
16 tourney.
Because that way, if you're expecting Golden State and if you're looking at it and you're like, oh, Golden State and who was the other best team last year? Denver was it the 2nd seed?
Portland technically played in the playoffs.
You want to know something funny though?
No, but who was the 2nd team last year?
If we did it last year,
it's Denver.
If we did it last year, based off of what the conference finals was, Bucks would be the number 1 seed, Warriors would be the number 1 seed, Raptors, Trailblazers. We'd get the same matchup because it'd be Bucks, Warriors, Raptors, Blazers. Unless that means the Bucks would play the Blazers and the Raptors would play the Warriors. So it would be 2-3.
I think that's 1-4-2-3.
Okay. Let's see for 2017, 2018 because we'll see the year prior.
So we would have saw the NBA finals in the conference finals, and then the Eastern Conference finals in the NBA finals.
Do you really think that?
I think the Bucks would have beat the Blazers. I do.
I don't know.
Here's the conference finals. For 2017-2018, it was Celtics versus Cavs and Rockets versus Golden State. So we would have seen Houston versus the Cavs and Boston versus Golden State.
I would have enjoyed that a lot.
Say that one more time.
So this is 2 years ago.
Time. Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
Rockets versus Celtics. No, Rockets versus Cavs.
Yep.
So LeBron versus
Harden.
and then Golden State versus the hurt Boston Celtics.
Yeah. I think that would have been fun.
See, but
because you could end up with potentially that Rockets Golden
Here's the
State
thing.
final.
Would you rather
could-
see, or would you rather see this? Houston
Yep.
as number 1 seed,
Yep.
number 2 seed Toronto Raptors, number 3 seed Golden State, number 4 seed Boston, number 5 seed Philly, number 6 seed Cavs. So then you'd have Golden State and the Cavs on one side, and then you have the Rockets and Boston on one side with the Sixers in there too.
that intrigues me a lot more because, like,
And
I
then
know
you're building up to a Warriors Cavs, and then you're building up to a Rockets Warriors.
because then you let it play out. The one that you said that was just the 2 years ago for the conference finals, Dave's looking at it through the eyes of what could have happened. I'm looking at it through the eyes of I know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That Warriors team would have decimated the
Celtics.
Celtics.
100%.
And then I have a feeling that there's a possibility we would have either seen the same finals that we got or the same Western Conference that we got.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, the point is that Western
bad?
Conference finals felt like it could have been on the level of the finals.
Exactly. And it's like,
Did
it's
it
not-
deserve the recognition?
It's
Because
not like we're
the Rockets
get-
were the second
Yeah,
best team in the NBA.
But we're not getting anything different. We're not getting a different matchup. We're
But
just
we're getting
getting
the matchup in the right spotlight. And to me, that matters. Because I feel like the Rockets were the second best team in the NBA last year.
Yeah,
or
see,
2 years ago.
To me, I don't think that had to be in the NBA Finals to be greater. Like, it was an amazing series, and it's like we witnessed it. It wouldn't have made any change to me if it was in the finals or not in the finals.
I mean, I feel like that doesn't ring true at all for me. I think that the bigger the spotlight on the game, the more the game resonates and the more the game matters, the more moments matter. Like, again, you don't really remember middle ground games unless it's something special. And I think that everybody remembers the finals from most years. You know?
I mean, there's
Like, the second best team that year was the Rockets. And you think, well, it was Golden State and the Cavs, and they beat the shit out of the Cavs.
the only
you know?
thing it changes in my mind is that Cleveland-Houston game.
Yeah.
That's the game where I'm like, I can't pick a clear winner because I could see
Exactly.
LeBron go.
I would
like,
love to see that series play out
and
in
that's
7.
it. But then when you go into the next series, it's like I know what I saw, and I expect the same thing as what I saw from what we did see. Where I don't see the Warriors losing. If we replay them now, I don't see the Warriors losing either of those series, depending on who. So what? It changes one game in a series that you said, oh, means a little bit less because it's not the finals then.
I think
Cleveland Houston would have been a conference final game and not
would have been a great series, and I think maybe it's special right now because you don't see those teams get to play a series against each other unless it's a finals matchup, and that's the whole East-West shit. If that goes away, I think over time maybe that loses some specialness, but right now that would be amazing. I would pay money 100% to go watch that series play out. But again, it isn't the case. I think that reseeding should happen. I think the cross-seeding is fine. I'm all for making the playoffs the best two teams getting to the most important game of the year. Or most important game series, whatever you want to call it.
I agree, and I want to see those teams match up, but I want the chaos that could happen, and I think that making that happen, where if you could put the fucking Golden State Warriors and Cavs on one side, like, and you're expecting the Warriors to make it to the finals, but they have to go through LeBron James. God damn.
Right?
God
There's
damn.
different storytelling, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of the
Like-
cruise, Golden State was just going to cruise or whatever.
Like, the reason we had divisions was because it was easier to travel and they didn't have fucking planes back in the 50s. Like, doesn't matter.
And look at this here. Are you going to have, the Lakers Clippers? Like, I think most people think that right now. I mean, we're only 13, 14 games in the season. That looks like the two best teams in the NBA by far, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Celtics have been very good, but
The Heat have looked
The
very
Celtics
good.
have been
Injuries.
playing injured. The Heat have been playing very good.
He'd have been
they
good,
don't
but like,
look like
I would
they're
think the
world
Lakers
beaters.
would stop them.
I don't know.
I
That
know.
Heat team looks really good this year.
Okay, who are you taking in 7 games? LeBron James and Anthony Davis and a pretty damn good bench with Dwight Howard, or Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson?
Forgot Kendrick Nunn.
I forgot Kendrick Nunn.
Kendrick Nunn's
My
been on a
God.
heater as well. Pun
Oh,
intended.
yeah. Oh.
Pun intended, Sean.
So
You're on a
sorry,
heater.
I forgot
They-
about Kendrick Nunn.
The Heat already played the Lakers and they got their butts kicked. So,
The Heat did?
Yeah.
You always say that stuff, and I'm like, oh, great, now I'm stupid. I forget. Who won? The Lakers?
Yeah, the Lakers won.
Okay, there you go. Because they're better. They're a better team.
There.
Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below about this. I'm for reseeding of the semifinalists.
It was
but I think
95 to 80, by the way.
Okay.
Weird low score game.
I think that the reseeding should happen. I would be fine if it happened, but I would like to see it expanded even more. I think the in-season tournament is dumb, mainly because what's the point? There's no prize happening.
And it's just a few extra games, and players don't want to play extra games as it is now.
The play-in would be interesting, but I think the teams have to be good, and no one really wants to see bad teams just play basketball for no reason. But then again, like I think there was the Nuggets year, 2017-2018. That was such a good year of basketball. 2017-2018, where the Nuggets like had to win their last game and they didn't get it.
Like the double play-in, yeah.
So maybe, but I would like it if they changed it to like, what if you got 6 teams in for sure, and then the rest of those teams they play a playoff.
See, that could be interesting. Yeah, I think the NBA needs to go bigger on this shit. They need to go for the games that actually matter and not try to spice up the regular season like this. Like we love the regular season. It's too long. Players need more breaks between games with the play they're playing right now, how high level athletes they are. So give us 60 games in the regular season.
Give us 60 seasons.
Give us 60 seasons too.
60 seasons. 60 more seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. But like make the playoffs where it counts. Make that your mark on the game, Adam Silver.
All right, Ricky, final thoughts?
No, I think we hit everything that I need to, or that we needed to. I got nothing more to add.
Usually just final thoughts. It's like summing up what you did say, but whatever. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for the podcast. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you can rate and subscribe to our podcast and review our podcast as well. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate that. But that's going to do it for Dave Oster. That's Ricky Widmer. We want to thank John, our patron, for joining us for the Spurs segment. I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.